LoreWarrior Aerotech LX-2 Lancer. Overview. The last decade has seen a renaissance in naval technology in the Free Worlds League. The LX-2 Lancer is one such product of the trillions spent on aerospace and naval technologies. The original design, the LX-1, was a testbed for new technologies, in particular the advanced avionics and weapons systems that it was used solely as a validation platform for. This would become their next generation aerospace fighter. The first LX-2, the production model, prototype, would fly in March 3060, but it wasn't until 3064, however, that the aircraft entered service with the Free Worlds League militia. Capabilities. Gutierrez Aerospace put their decade of experience with the stopgap F-94 Stingray to good use in designing the Lancer. The result was a light and agile fighter with integrated flight and weapon systems. Though not as cutting-edge as the Andurian Aerotech Shiva, it is a formidable aircraft, hailed as a dream to fly by pilots and simplicity to maintain by its ground crew. The heart of the aircraft is the 250-rated fusion engine and 5 tons of diatomic hydrogen fuel, capable of driving the Lancer at twice the speed of sound at low level. Advanced terrain avoidance sensors allow the Lancer to fly at NOE altitudes, though the ride is uncomfortable, even for short durations, and is thus only used to sneak under enemy radar cover. A nose-mounted LRM launcher provides the Lancer's principal long-range firepower, using the same Irium weapon works systems used on the Stingray, albeit with the addition of an Artemis fire control to improve accuracy. Unfortunately, the Lancer only carries a single ton of ammunition, forcing the pilot to conserve his missile shots until they're most needed. Instead, a pair of wing-mounted large pulse lasers provide accurate medium-range firepower at a heat premium for this aircraft. Underwing-mounted points allow the Lancer to carry around 10 bombs or external equipment pods. Doing so, however, does degrade the aircraft's atmospheric handling and isn't favoured by the pilot. Deployment. The 1st Oriental Hussars provided valuable advice during the development of the Lancer and were rewarded with a lance of the aircraft. Just a lance. The Free Worlds Legionaries also use a number of Lancers, but the majority have been assigned to the Free Worlds League Navy, where it's used as a carrier-based reconnaissance craft. So yeah, the Lancer. It's a 50-tonner. Its frame is the L2 standard, with a 250 fusion power plant. Armour is the Duralex Heavy standard, with a pair of Tronol PPL-22 large pulse lasers, and a single Irium Weapon Works Class 10B LRM-10 with Artemis fire control. Its manufacturer is Gutierrez Aerospace, primarily developed on Trellisane. Okay. Its communication system is the Telestar G3, and targeting and tracking is the Syncom DEC with Artemis 4 fire control. Stat-wise, because this is an Omni-Fighter compared to the previous two so far, is a vehicle that can move 7 and 11 safe and max thrust, with 10 double heat sinks, the good famous number, with 38 on the nose, 33 armour on the wings, and 32 on the aft. This is an aircraft that has a single configuration, being the LRM-10 with Artemis fire control located in the nose of the craft, with 12 rounds of fire, and a single large pulse laser, one on each wing, right and left. This is artwork I really like. This is it's slightly goofy, the big disc kind of design. It's reminiscent of some of the earlier BattleTech aerospace designs. How effective it would actually be in atmospheric flight is a different story, as I imagine having a big round disc underneath all of the aerodyne surfaces would probably cause it some problems. But I'm not an aerospace engineer, so maybe I'm completely wrong, but it seems like it might encounter some issues when it's trying to pull up, for instance, with all of the air pressing down on that disc, might cause a few issues. But it's sci-fi, it's really cool. It looks fine, I don't mind it. It's also a nice, simple aircraft, nice and easy to use, obviously with two very simple weapon systems, point and click, and hopefully your enemy's going to get shot down. Armour-wise, compared to the previous two that we've seen, which are lighter vehicles, remember, it actually carries a lot less armour, which means this thing probably gets shot down a lot quicker if it does get into a dogfight, say with a Dagger with its 77, 62, 50 armour, for instance, at 45 ton. This thing at 5 ton heavier actually has half of that, which makes sense with it being mentioned as a reconnaissance craft, although its max speed isn't any quicker than, say, the Dagger or even the Korax. as the Corax itself can also move at a pretty svelte 14 by comparison. So I'm not quite sure what the Lancer would do in a situation where it might end up in a dogfight with either of these systems. Luckily for the Free Worlds League, it's highly unlikely, for instance, the Lancer would encounter a Corax due to its Outworlds Alliance affiliation and suspected clan technology. Meanwhile, the Federated Suns, there's a possibility, of course. They could always encounter it. I think this little fella would be it'd be outclassed quite succinctly. But in its role as a reconnaissance, I suppose it would do well. Obviously, Lancers of these things would probably work with other air forces, so it would probably have some kind of cover if necessary. But it seems strange to designate this as a reconnaissance craft and not really have the speed to back it up, especially when there's mention of the fact that it can move quite fast, and then to find it actually just moves 7 and 11. So yeah, not as impressive. Weapon systems are good. It means it's generally going to hit its target, and the damage is decent, 18 if it hits with both of the pulse lasers. And the LRM-10 is it's neither here nor there. A single LRM-10 is okay on a light mech or a low-end medium, but an aerospace fighter at 50 ton, I'd say you'd need a couple of LRM systems to be able to really thump in the damage. It's also hampered the fact that it has a single ton of ammunition, so it's really going to struggle with how many times it can fire. Maybe different munition types, on the other hand, could make that LRM-10 a bit more viable, possibly, but yeah, I'm not as impressed with it. I like the write-up, but it's not really a fighter I would be as happy to use, despite the fact that I quite like it visually. It looks cool. But yeah, that's the Lancer. An interesting design. Free Worlds League there, obviously. One of the big things they've got going against them is, I guess, it's not an Omni fighter, which is the other thing. Also, its engine is not an XL engine; it's a standard fusion engine, so it's heavier. So, I think they spent a lot of money, but they also don't seem to have wanted to invest a lot of money. But maybe other projects produced a much better fighter further down. We'll see. But until then, have a good one all. Thanks for listening. As always, I'll catch you next time. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye.